Welcome to our exploration of affective factors in language acquisition. While language learning is often seen as a purely cognitive process, it is deeply influenced by our emotions and social experiences. Learners do not enter classrooms as blank slates. They bring with them a mix of fears, hopes, beliefs, and expectations. These emotional elements shape how they interpret lessons, how willing they are to participate, and how much risk they are prepared to take. In this lesson, we'll uncover why a learner's emotional state is not a minor issue, but a central factor in whether language input is noticed, processed, and retained. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to explain what affective factors are, analyze how motivation, anxiety, attitudes, self-esteem, and self-efficacy influence learning, and understand Krashen's affective filter hypothesis. You'll also learn to identify classroom conditions that impact the affective filter, apply theory to real teaching scenarios, and design emotionally supportive classroom responses. Finally, you'll reflect on how affect and identity are intertwined in the language learning journey. Affective factors are the emotional and attitudinal variables that influence learning. In language acquisition, these include how learners feel about the target language, their self-perception as learners, their anxiety levels, motivation, and belief in their ability to succeed. These factors don't replace the need for input, practice, feedback, or instruction, but they strongly influence how learners respond to all of those things. For example, two students may receive the same lesson, but their emotional states can lead to very different outcomes. Imagine two learners in the same classroom receiving identical instruction. One participates actively, takes risks, and steadily improves. The other avoids speaking, disengages, and remembers little. The difference often isn't intelligence or ability, it's effect. Language learning is highly public, requiring students to speak before they feel ready, make mistakes in front of others, and reveal gaps in understanding. This creates emotional vulnerability. If the classroom feels threatening, learners may withdraw. If it feels supportive, they're more likely to engage and grow. Motivation is a key affective factor in language learning. Highly motivated learners are more likely to participate, persist through challenges, and seek out opportunities to use the language. Motivation can be intrinsic, coming from personal interest or enjoyment, or extrinsic, driven by external rewards or requirements. Teachers can nurture motivation by connecting lessons to learners' interests, setting achievable goals, and celebrating progress. Anxiety is another powerful affective factor. While some anxiety can sharpen focus and increase effort, too much can be paralyzing. Language classrooms often trigger anxiety because learners must perform in front of others, risking mistakes and embarrassment. High anxiety can cause students to withdraw, avoid participation, or even stop trying. Teachers can help by creating a safe, supportive environment and normalizing mistakes as part of learning. Learners' attitudes toward the target language and its speakers can significantly influence their engagement. Positive attitudes foster curiosity and openness, while negative attitudes can create resistance. Teachers can shape attitudes by exposing students to diverse cultures, encouraging respect, and highlighting the value of multilingualism. Self-esteem refers to how learners view themselves as capable language users. High self-esteem encourages risk-taking and resilience, while low self-esteem can lead to avoidance and self-doubt. Teachers can boost self-esteem by providing positive feedback, recognizing effort, and creating opportunities for success. Self-efficacy is the belief that one can succeed in specific tasks. In language learning, students with high self-efficacy are more likely to try new things, persist through difficulties, and recover from setbacks. Teachers can build self-efficacy by setting clear expectations, modeling strategies, and helping students reflect on their progress. Stephen Krashen's affective filter hypothesis is a foundational idea in language acquisition. It proposes that emotional variables act like a mental filter, influencing how much comprehensible input is actually acquired. When motivation is high and anxiety is low, the filter is down, allowing more input to be processed. When anxiety is high or motivation is low, the filter rises and less input is absorbed. The affective filter doesn't literally block sound or prevent exposure to language. Instead, it influences attention, openness, risk-taking, and receptivity. A learner who is embarrassed or afraid of being judged may mentally withdraw, even while sitting in class. In contrast, a learner who feels safe and encouraged is more likely to notice, interact with, and integrate new language input. Krashen's hypothesis highlights the teacher's role in shaping classroom climate. Reducing fear and building confidence isn't just about kindness, it directly increases the conditions for language acquisition. Teachers who create emotionally supportive environments help lower the affective filter, making it easier for students to process and retain new language. It's important to remember that not all anxiety is harmful. Some degree of challenge can actually increase effort and concentration. Learners respond differently to the same environment. A task that energizes one may intimidate another. The affective filter hypothesis is most useful as a guiding principle, encouraging teachers to pay attention to emotional barriers and individual differences. Certain classroom conditions can raise the affective filter. These include high-pressure testing, public correction, lack of support, and negative peer interactions. When students feel threatened or unsupported, their willingness to participate and process input drops. Teachers should be aware of these triggers and strive to minimize them. On the other hand, classrooms that are emotionally supportive, inclusive, and respectful help lower the affective filter. Positive teacher-student relationships, encouragement, and opportunities for success all contribute to a climate where students feel safe to take risks and engage with the language. Let's consider Maria, a language learner who enters class with high anxiety and low self-confidence. She rarely volunteers to speak and often avoids group activities. However, when her teacher provides gentle encouragement and celebrates her small successes, Maria gradually becomes more willing to participate. Her affective filter lowers, and she begins to make noticeable progress. David is another learner, but he thrives on challenge and competition. When given difficult tasks, he feels energized and motivated. However, if the classroom becomes too relaxed or lacks structure, he loses interest. This example shows that affective factors are highly individual, and teachers must balance support with appropriate challenge. Translating theory into practice means intentionally designing classrooms that support emotional safety. This includes establishing clear routines, using positive language, and modeling respectful interactions. When students feel emotionally safe, they are more likely to take risks, ask questions, and persist through difficulties. Learner confidence grows when students experience success and receive constructive feedback. Teachers can build confidence by breaking tasks into manageable steps, recognizing effort, and providing specific praise. Confident learners are more likely to participate and persist, even when faced with challenges. Sustained engagement is essential for language acquisition. Teachers can maintain engagement by varying activities, connecting content to students' lives, and encouraging collaboration. When students are emotionally invested, they are more likely to notice, process, and use new language. Affective factors are closely linked to identity. Language learning often involves expressing personal ideas, values, and experiences. When students feel their identities are respected and valued, they are more likely to engage deeply with the language. Teachers can foster this by encouraging self-expression and honoring diverse backgrounds. Designing supportive classrooms means more than avoiding negativity. It involves actively building a culture of encouragement, respect, and inclusion. Teachers can set the tone by modeling positive interactions, addressing conflicts constructively, and making sure every student feels seen and heard. Teachers can reduce anxiety by setting clear expectations, providing plenty of practice opportunities, and allowing students to prepare before speaking. Pair and group work can also help, as it reduces the pressure of performing in front of the whole class. Mistakes should be treated as learning opportunities, not failures. Motivation can be boosted by connecting lessons to students' interests, offering choices, and celebrating progress. Teachers can also set meaningful goals and provide authentic reasons for using the language, such as real-world tasks or communication with native speakers. Fostering self-esteem involves recognizing effort, providing specific praise, and helping students set and achieve personal goals. Teachers can also encourage peer support and create opportunities for every student to experience success, no matter their starting point. To encourage self-efficacy, teachers can model strategies for success, provide scaffolding, and help students reflect on their progress. Setting clear, achievable goals and celebrating small wins can help students believe in their ability to succeed. While Krashen's affective filter hypothesis is influential, it's not a perfect formula. Not all anxiety is negative, and learners respond differently to the same environment. The hypothesis is most useful as a reminder to consider emotional barriers and to design learning with the learner's psychological experience in mind. Let's visualize how the affective filter works. Imagine two learners in the same classroom. One feels safe and motivated, so the filter is low and most input is processed. The other feels anxious and insecure, so the filter is high and much input is blocked from meaningful processing. This schematic helps us see why emotional climate is so critical in language learning. Teachers are encouraged to reflect on their own classroom practices. Consider how your actions, language, and routines impact students' emotional states. Are you creating an environment where students feel safe to take risks? Regular reflection helps teachers stay attuned to the affective needs of their learners and adjust their approach as needed. In summary, affective factors are not just side issues in language learning, they are central to the process. Motivation, anxiety, attitudes, self-esteem, and self-efficacy all shape how learners engage with language input. By understanding and addressing these factors, teachers can create classrooms where every student has the best chance to succeed.